Hey guys, this is Kayla Jones, the librarian at East Hamilton High School. Today we're going to talk about how to access some research databases through the Tennessee Electronic Library via our school's library webpage, how to use those databases to further advance your research skills, as well as how to save some sources and work with sources by transferring them over to our Google accounts that are provided by the county. So if you'll follow along with me, then I hope that you can learn something new today. So we're going to start off by going to the school's library homepage, which is EHMHS, as in East Hamilton Middle High School, library.com. So this is going to pull up the school's library homepage for you. On this homepage, you've got a lot of links that you can access. You've got the OPAC, which is our online catalog that catalogs all of the items that we have in our library. So if you find a book that you want to check out, then you can come and say, hey, it was in your OPAC, and it says that it was available. So you have that access. You also have contact information for both Mrs. Sane, the middle school librarian, as well as myself in the high school side. And then up here, just like we were talking about, we're going to focus on the research. So if you click on the first research link, this is going to take you to some links that will definitely benefit you in any of your classes with research later on throughout the year. In the general links, you have access to the Chattanooga Public Library. As Hamilton County students, you have a free public library card that is afforded to you. So through this site right here, you're going to be able to access any of their ebooks and any of their materials that only Chattanooga Public Library card holders could access. You also have access to the Purdue Online Writing Lab for citations, and this will help you whether you're doing MLA citations for English or APA citations for your science classes. This is going to be a great guide for you to follow. And remember, we have to do our citations so that we don't end up plagiarizing within our research papers. If you scroll a little further down, then you'll see the databases. You have the Tennessee Electronic Library, and this is an excellent free resource for anybody in Tennessee. And these databases essentially act like any search engine that you would use, whether it's Google or Yahoo or Bing, but it clears out all of the unnecessary information, and it gives you credible, reliable sources that you know that you're going to be able to use and use effectively within your research papers. I would say that it is sometimes easier not to go to the main page of the Tennessee Electronic Library, but to access databases specifically geared to what it is you're looking for. So you have general research right here, and if you click on any of these are all general databases for research within the Tennessee Electronic Library. So it just immediately takes you to one of their search engines. If you scroll down, you have the subject-specific research databases. You've got some for science, you've got some for literature, you've got some for languages or U.S. history or world history. If you're doing an argumentative paper for any of your classes, this opposing viewpoints and context is going to be a very beneficial source, as well as maybe procon.org. Right now, for the purposes of today's lesson, we're really going to focus on the high school research. So if you click on the high school tab at the top, this is going to take you to more grade-specific research. So these databases are going to be geared to high school students as far as the maturity of the sources found, as well as the writing level of some of the sources found. Today, we're just going to use the student resources and context for high school. There is a student resources and context for middle school, and it would work very similarly to what we're doing today. So if you'll click on that, it'll open up a brand new tab for you, and you will have a search bar just like you would with Google. So what we have been doing with the English 9 students is practicing argumentative papers, meaning we're picking controversial topics and we're trying to find information on both sides of that issue. So for an example, for today's purposes, we're just going to research Boy Scouts in America. As many of you know, if you are following the news, then you will know that the Boy Scouts are now allowing girls into their organization, and they're going to allow girls to achieve the highest level, which is the Eagle Scout. And some people agree and some people disagree, which is why it makes it a perfect topic for an argumentative essay. So what I did is I just typed in the Boy Scouts of America into the search bar, just like you would with Google, and you're going to have a lot of different information pop up. But If you were to Google Boy Scouts of America, then you can just imagine how much more you would get pop up. If you look at this, you've got about 15,000 that you're working with. If you were to use another search engine, you would have well over 2 million that you're working with. So this does minimize those and it cleans it up for you. You have everything from references to academic journals. Academic journals are written by experts in the field, and you know that you're going to be able to use those. But when we're talking about this argumentative and this controversial topic, let's see what's going on in the news with it. So let's start there today. So you've got a bunch of things that pop up, and you're working with a lot here. As you can see, you're working with 1,877. And while that's a lot less than you would get with other search engines, it's still quite a bit to kind of sift through. So do know that when you're doing research, you would want to sort this by obviously relevance. So these are definitely things that are going to, the top searches here are going to be the ones that really stick out. But you're also going to want to pay attention to the date as well. You're going to want something new. So if you get something from 2002, it's not going to have the newest news about girls being allowed in the Cub Scouts and being able to earn the title of Eagle Scout. So just pay attention to date when you're looking at these things. So let's start with this first one. The Boy Scouts are letting girls in, which is exactly what we're talking about. That won't be anything new for these Maryland teens. So you could go there. You could do girls don't become Boy Scouts and girls don't need Boy Scouts approval for their achievements. So you can see that all of these do have to do with what we are talking about for our research paper. So let's just click on this first one. We know that it's relevant by the date, October 22nd, 2017, so it's new. The Boy Scouts are letting girls in. It deals with our topic. So what the first step that you would do is you would click on it and you would skim the article. You don't have to read it thoroughly yet. But if you skim that and you see that it's going to be good enough for your research topic, then now is the step that we would save the article, save the citation, and access our Google Drive. So you would go to, if you look in the tools section over here, you would go to download. And the very first thing that you see pop up is save to Google Drive. So you'd hit download again. It's going to take you to a new screen. You're going to have to sign in. I recommend using those school accounts that you have access to. Once you do sign in, you're going to get the box that says documents have been sent to Google Drive and will appear shortly. Do not go immediately to your Google Drive. Sometimes it does take a few minutes, but this source right here and everything within the content of this source is going to be immediately accessible through my Google Drive once I click on that. So from there, we've already said that we have to do a citation because otherwise we'll be plagiarizing. So from here, we're going to go back to these tools and we're going to click on citation tools. I talked about a little bit earlier about how with MLA, those would be for your English classes, and then you have APA, which is going to be more for your science classes, and those are the main ones that you will use at East Hamilton. We're going to say that the purposes of this one is for English, so we'll click on the MLA, make sure that we have the right source. But if you were to click on the APA, you can see that the words switch up a little bit, and it changes the citation to make it fit those rules. Let's go back to the MLA. See it switch one more time. If you go down to export to, you'll see Google Drive on there. Click on Google Drive and click export. And then again, once it exports, you'll get that box that says documents have been sent to Google Drive and will appear shortly. So from there, you can exit out of your citation tools because you have this source and you have this source's citation that you can use whenever you need to via your Google Docs and your Google Drive account. So if let's say that you needed 3 to 4 sources for your research paper, the next step would be to look up Boy Scouts of America again and go through that same process. And as you find a source that's relevant, then you download it directly to your Google Drive. And then you would download and export the citation for that directly to your Google Drive. For the purposes of this video, we're just going to show you how to go straight to your Google Drive so you can see where those sources are and see how to use those sources via your Google Drive account. So here I am. I'm going to click on my Drive account. And this is going to bring up everything I have in my Google Drive. If I want to make sure that I go directly to what I just uploaded through those databases, then I'm going to click on recent, and there it is. The Boy Scouts are letting girls in, and then I have my citation for it too. If you click on the citation, It's exactly like it was there. So when you're working on a works cited page, you can completely just copy and paste this to your works cited page and it's done for you. So if I go back to my Google Drive, I'm going to open up the source now. So here is my source, and it is a Google Doc, which means I can edit it, I can highlight it, I can make notes in it, and I can make this my source, and I can make it to where I can use it directly within my research paper. So the first thing that I would do once I have this source pulled up is I would read it thoroughly now. You've done the scanning, you know it's going to be relevant to your argument, but now you would read it thoroughly. So you know you have a better understanding of which parts you're going to use and which parts you're not going to be able to use. If you look at the bottom, you'll see that citation again. So this information you don't necessarily need at this point. So after I've read it thoroughly, I'm going to take it paragraph by paragraph or every couple of paragraphs at a time. And any information that I see in this, I can directly highlight it within my Google Doc. So let's say that I've read these first 2 paragraphs and I really like the information in them. So I would go over here, I'd highlight it, and then I could add a comment. If I want to paraphrase that information, then you can just simply put paraphrase and then literally write your paraphrase right there. So all of the hard work would be done. If you wanted to summarize it, do the same thing, but just put summary and then actually type your summary out. Let's say that you get to something that you want to directly quote. Let's say that Scoutmaster Wolfstone, who's 55, told the group that the rest of the world is going to catch on to what we're doing here. That's a pretty strong quote from a Scoutmaster. So what I would do is I'd highlight it, I'd press quote, and there, once I click out of it, you see it's automatically highlighted for me. So I know when I'm going back to work on that research paper, that's a quote I'm going to use. I've already said it's a quote. It's already highlighted. I can copy and I can paste this directly into my research paper. And it's really just going to make things a lot easier and expedite the process of writing a rough draft. So I hope that today's lessons have helped you. If you have any questions, you can always contact me via email or you can come see me in the High School Media Center on Lower Yellow Hall. Thank you for your time.